Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, we have a top 5. Now, according to statistics, these 5 tanks are shit. Yes, these 5 tanks are the worst performing tanks when it comes to win rate in World of Tanks Blitz for the last update. And some of these tanks I'm not surprised at all. So coming in at number 5. Now, I'm not going to really go through the percentage because they're all very close. Like these, I think there's 2 that are on 45.6 and then the rest of the 3 are all sort of 44.6 or 5. So they're very close in terms of win rate. So Centurion. The Centurion won a tier 8 medium tank. Now, this tank, you know, it's never had love, really. It's never been a fantastic tank. But for me, I think what ruined this tank for the majority of players is when Wargaming added the fact that you can have Hesh. So you actually have Hesh on this tank, which is good for the players like myself that like Hesh. It's good for the players that know how to use Hesh. It's not so good on the people that are new to the game, that are grinding up the line, because it is a very difficult shell to use. Because of course it doesn't have the penetration that your usual premium round has got. You have less penetration. So if you're running with your normal AP and you can't penetrate something, you're not going to be able to penetrate it with the Hesh. So you've got to sort of move around. You've got to move, get around the map, get around the players, because you're not going to be able to get that shot off if you can't penetrate them with your AP. So for the majority of players that don't know how to use the Hesh, that was probably the biggest change. For myself, I like the change. You're able to do more damage with your Hesh. You're able to get around them. And again, as soon as you come to the side of a tank or the rear of a tank, you will be able to do more damage because you're going to be able to penetrate them with the Hesh. It's not a tank that I'm surprised about being in the top 5. To be fair, it is number 5. I would have probably gone with this tank being at number sort of 3. But it's doing better than I thought it would. So the Centurion one is in the bottom 5. Next up, we have the Leopard PTA. Now, this tank is a good tank when played correctly. Of course, the Leopard one is one of my favorite tanks in the game. It's one of my favorite mediums, and it is an absolutely brutal tank. But again, if you don't know how to play it, then you're just going to get torn apart. Now, the Leopard PTA clearly is nowhere near as good as the Leopard 1, but still in the right hands. I did a replay a couple of weeks ago with over 8,000 damage in this thing. It's got good speed, it's got a good gun. However, it's literally got 0 armor, and it is currently the 4th worst tank when it comes to win rate in the whole game. So yeah, you know, another tank in the list is the Indian Panzer. Now, this is always in the top 5, to be fair. It's a very difficult tank to play. It's not the best. It's got good DPM, doesn't have good armor, isn't the quickest of medium tanks either. And I mean, the turret just stands out. I mean, just look how big the turret is. It is absolutely massive. And if you're in a hold down position, there is the opportunity sometimes to get the troll bounce. But other than that, you're not going to bounce in this tank. Honestly, the armor profile, I think, needs adjusting. I think the turret armor could do with being made better. And again, it is 3rd in the list of, well, 3rd. It is the 3rd worst tank when it comes to win rate. And like the Centurion, these 2 are always in the bottom 5, like literally always in the bottom 5. The Leopard PTA, I think that's one of the first times I've actually seen that in the bottom 5. So people are not doing well in the tank at all. But yeah, the Indian Panzer, I'm not surprised at all that this is in the bottom 3, because it's not a great tank at all. And again, clearly, people are not performing well in this tank at all. So Are you surprised so far at the 3 tanks that I've shown? Because again, I'm only really surprised about the Leopard PTA, only because I've never seen it. In hindsight, you look at the Leopard PTA and you're like, yeah, you know, I can see why people are not performing. Next up at number 2, it is actually a tank I really love, and that's mainly because of the Hesh. It is the Charioteer. Now again, whenever I talk about this tank, I always talk about when this tank was first released. It was overpowered. It's a tier 8 tank destroyer that had the same gun as a tier 10 FV4202 and of course the Centurion 7-1. The reload was about 6 seconds. Of course it had the Hesh. It has that top sort of 550 top damage, and people were doing over 8,000 damage. Of course, it didn't last long before Wargaming nerfed it. They really nerfed it, but to be honest, it did need that nerf because it was overpowered. Now, the only thing I don't like about the tank is the speed. I think it is a bit sluggish unless you are using that special speed boost, which if this tank didn't have that extra speed boost, then I think this tank would just be about average. It really does need and rely on that speed boost. I just wish it was that quick without having to use the speed boost. I just, you know, and also the traverse is quite slow, but honestly, this tank really does rely on that speed boost. But again, I can see why people don't perform in it. It has no armor whatsoever, and again, it has Hesh. So not everyone knows how to use the Hesh. So the Charioteer coming in at number 2. And at number 1, I've already made a video on it. The current worst tank in the game, and I have to agree, is this tank right here. The 101, the SU-101. This sucks. This tank really does suck. There's 2 good things about the tank. One of them is the gun is okay, and the other is the speed. Other than that, it has literally like 3 degrees of gun depression, has no gun depression whatsoever, and of course the armor absolutely sucks. It really does. If it just had better armor where you can sort of wiggle, like the SU-100M, you know, if you wiggle, the armor profile is actually very troll. However, with this, yes, you may get the lucky bounce, like extremely lucky bounce. Other than that, the tank sucks, and clearly statistics proves that. Statistics are there to prove that currently, over the last update, this has been the worst performing tank in the game. And again, I am not surprised. So overall, the top 5 in this list, I'm not massively surprised. I didn't look at the list and think, wow, like, what is that? Why is that tank there? The only tank really being is the Leopard PTA, only because I've never really seen it in the bottom 5, because it is actually a good tank, especially when you do come up against tier 8s. It is a solid tank, but I can understand why people are not performing in that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.